I mean, when Steve asked me that question, it was like the only way to answer it was like the truth that I had tried everything else. I had tried the pills. I'd been on medicated, and the pills, I didn't like them. They didn't help me. They made me feel worse, actually. I've tried the counseling. The counseling didn't work. I tried the MMA and jiu-jitsu, like sports and activities. Those things were fun and rewarding in some ways and numb my situation, but they didn't change anything in my life. So it was time for me to try something different. It's one of those things we have at our foundation at Mighty Oaks is if what you're doing isn't working, then why not try something different?
Yeah.
And so I gave this guy, Steve, a chance, and I made a decision to give my life to Christ. And I didn't even really understand what that meant, but it was followed by about a year of mentorship by this guy, Steve, really teaching me biblical manner and how to make the different choices every day. And what I discovered through that was something that may seem simple to a lot of people, but was really profound to me. I really discovered that the incidents in my past, my childhood, Afghanistan, losing my best friend, Foster Harrington, I served with for 10 years. I remember when he got killed, we were served together for 10 years. We were so close. Like when he got killed, how angry I was. And like all these things that had happened to me, those things didn't lead me to be in that closet with a pistol in my hand. What led me there were the choices I made in response to those things. And I had never lost the ability to choose differently. And again, it may sound cliche and silly, but to me, it was like I realized I didn't have to let my past define my future anymore. And I could choose differently moving forward. And I knew I needed that accountability. To answer your question, like I don't trust myself because I know myself too well to trust myself.
Exactly.
I always have accountability. I will never be in my life again in that position without accountability. I live in a very unique place at our foundation. We have so much amazing people around me, and we have a very high level of transparency in our relationships with some of the leadership at Mighty Oaks, and it really keeps me accountable. If I'm struggling with something, I can go right to people. I mean, just like right now, I mean, I would be dishonest if I wouldn't tell you that I'm not struggling with my son being in Afghanistan. Sure. I've been there 8 times. I serve people every day that are struggling with the hardships of Afghanistan. I see people come back with missing limbs and not have their friends come back and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm struggling, but the difference now is how I respond to that struggle is much different because one, I understand God at a sovereign level, understand who he is, who he created me to be, his hand in all of this. And I also have put the right people around me that when I struggle, I have to go to it. I'm not internalizing it, letting it fester and build up and letting it send me kind of off the rails, which it did in the past. I mean, I look at my life before I had accountability and it was like a train heading for a brick wall without brakes. Mm-hmm. Like eventually it was a crash into something and it did. And so understanding that differently, it just really dictates how I live my life now and moving forward. And ultimately, when I realized these things and through this mentorship of Steve, I also realized I wasn't alone. Like when I was going through this, I felt like I was the only one. Like no one could feel the way I feel. No one could be so hopeless in their marriage or so hopeless in their life to where they feel like there's no purpose moving forward. They don't want to take their life. Like I realized I wasn't the only one. And, finding restoration, finding hope, finding purpose again. One of my favorite quotes is Mark Twain, 2 most important days in a person's life, the day that they're born and the day they find out why. Mm-hmm. Like I felt like I discovered why I was here. And it was to share what I had discovered because I wasn't the only one. 22 guys were taking their life every day. The divorce rates in places like Camp Pelham were over 80%. And now I was given a solution to this problem and I didn't want to keep it to myself. Mm-hmm. I felt obligated to share it. And so when we started Mighty Oaks, it wasn't like, hey, let's start Mighty Oaks because it'd be a great job and it'd be a great idea to start a nonprofit. We were in no way equipped to do it, had no idea how to do it. It was probably a terrible idea for me and Kathy to start at that time in our life because we were still bleeding ourselves. But we just felt obligated to do it because we felt like, again, we had the solution. And one of the things in the veteran nonprofit world right now, and is 43,000 veteran service organizations that are nonprofits in America right now. And a lot of them are great. Most all of them are well-intended. But if you look at many of them, they're talking about the problem. And I'd really recognized that even at the time. Everyone's talking about the problem. Everyone's talking about veteran suicide and PTSD, but no one's proposing a solution. And so we wanted to bring the solution to the table, and we felt like we had it, and we have. And you talk about purpose, like that's been my life mission ever since, my wife and I. And we've just been, felt a fire underneath us to share this purpose with other people. And not just bring hope and healing to other people, but then equip them to do the same thing.
Yeah.